But yeah, that movie started at like 8:30, and it was in Joplin. And I told Abby, I was like, "We're not going to be home till like 11:30. This is gonna be crazy."
I
Like,
can't do
no
it.
joke. In the wintertime, we're usually in bed by, I mean, for sure 8. But if it's 7:30, I'm not mad.
I get old, man. Getting older and older. I wouldn't mind being in bed at 6:00. If it's dark, I don't mind being in bed. Kind of how I do it. How are you gonna be late to your own live? I agree. I'm sorry, Secondhand Archery.
1 minute.
Thank you for keeping us accountable.
Don't do it again.
Keeping us accountable.
You know, maybe instead of worrying about us, you need to become first-hand archery.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know.
He's got dead deer in his profile picture. That's more than we have. That is more than we have. So
I would ask you, what you've been up to, but it's like the 4th podcast today. So,
dude, it is the 3rd one today. It's lagging, dude. I can only stare at a screen so long these days. It gets me good.
Just waiting on a few people to join.
Yeah, just hop on, everyone.
Dude, all you gotta do is job your love.
That was so we were in Colorado and I was looking for that one and I found it after that trip and I was like, I finally found it, looking for that one. He's like, the best part of that is when the guy goes, wow.
Yeah, like gave her affirmation like that was something incredible. Like, man,
yeah,
I understand.
Thanks everybody for jumping on to the lives. We try to do these every Monday at 7 p.m. We definitely will not be doing one next week. We're going to take a break next week in between Christmas and the New Year because I'm not going to be here. You'll probably be in bed at 7:00. So,
I mean, shame on us for spending time with family.
Exactly. It's the reason for the season, man.
So you're going to Colorado.
Yeah. Are you strictly hog hunting the rest of the year?
No, like I have corn set out still for like hogs or doe, but I don't plan on there being any bucks. So if like I want one doe before the season ends, that way I can get me some good summer sausage. And other than that, it's like I don't really care. I mean, obviously, if a big buck shows up, that's cool. Won't discriminate on that part, but I really want to shoot some hogs. I know I can. It's just now I got to get out there. What about you?
Yeah, it'll be few and far between. Like I said when we were talking earlier, I will definitely be going to Oklahoma for like the last couple of days of season and try to knock down a few does at the least. We still have 5 or 6 coming in every day, so trying to knock a couple of those down, do our part in the doe management trend, but that's probably going to be the extent of it. All right, let's field a few of these. So if you guys have a topic that you guys want to talk about, just drop it in the comments or a question. We probably are not we're not experts about anything, but you feel free to drop a question. Keller Jones said, hello there. Hello. How's it going?
Hello, good man.
Candy Can said, so no dude, it's a long day. Discrimination on big bucks.
There you go.
No discrimination.
No, not at all. It can be a 6-year-old 160 or it can be a 2-year-old 160. I'd still shoot them both. So no discrimination from me.
Call Owen. I know where the piggies are.
I bet
drop a pin, bub.
You little fart. He keeps telling me, he's like, man, we're going to go shoot him. It'll be fun. And I'm still waiting on that phone to ring. So we'll see.
There is I really don't think there's a better animal to like get practice bow hunting than pigs.
Yeah.
I really don't. They're really fun to shoot too.
Well, think about it. They can't really see. They're hard hearing. It's like the only thing they got is their nose. I mean, the ones that I get at my grandma's, if I'm sitting in the deer stand and I see them across the way, across like the pecan grove, I'll literally get out of my stand, find the wind, walk around them, and get within like 10 yards of them. And
in the open field?
Yeah.
Have you shot someone this year?
Mm-hmm. So there was two big ones and then like 12 babies kind of milling around out. Now, granted, this field, they rutted it up so bad they haven't brush dogged it. So like they were just in this little open patch. And granted, the other grass wasn't super tall, maybe like hip high in some areas, but I just kind of went around there and I got within 12 yards of him and uh still shot super right of it, but I hit it. It was just a little bit farther back because my bow, I have it sighted in for contacts. I know it sounds
Yeah.
weird, but with my glasses, my anchor point's different on my nose from where my nose touches the string. So with contacts, tip of my nose hits the string, but with glasses, it's to the right. And I forgot about that. And yeah, I shot like I was shooting with my contacts and it hit way right.
Did you think you killed the pig?
It for sure killed the pig. It's just it ran into the thicket and I heard a lot more and I wasn't about to go traiping through with my bow.
You weren't fixing to get the business.
No,
On the mama
no.
pig?
If I'd have had like a gun or my 9, I probably would have went in there after him. But I was just like, well, maybe they'll come back out.
Hunter Simmons on Instagram said my favorite couple, and then he said neighborhood cat is great practice, is all right practice. Maybe a stray cat. I take a lot of pride that I've never shot someone's dog and I've never shot someone's cat.
You've never shot a cat?
Never shot a cat. I don't even think I've ever seen a cat in the woods.
Oh,
Like
not
deer hunting.
hunting. I'll just figure out in general.
Never have.
Well, me neither.
Dancing Lobster said, what's the topic for tonight? So we don't come in with any like prearranged topics. We try to just kind of flow with what people are dropping in the chat and just kind of build off that. So
we're hanging out.
Just hanging out. Gabe Torrey said, what's up, fellas? How is the season going for you so far? Jacoby, how's your season going?
Long. A long one. Whitetail season's been kicking my butt, but we had some pretty good success early season, like August, September, so that was fun. Not trying to hang my hat on it, but that was this year, so I will hang my hat on it.
Yeah, a sick of blacktail deer is a deer. So killed $2. Just saying. Oh yeah, that my season's pretty much going similar to Jake's. Dustin Huff said, I shot a big button buck this year. Nice. I've done that many times. Shot plenty of button bucks.
I mean,
especially early days.
It looks like a big mature doe. You end up taking a shot. But like that's the thing. If you don't really use your binos or something, and you shoot a doe at like 30 plus yards, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see those little nubs. So
yeah,
I think it's more common than most people realize.
Especially if they come in alone. That's when it's really easy. If they're coming with like a big mama doe, no. But here's a good one just to get all controversial right out the gate. Hunter Simmons said, opinion on crossbow hunters.
I think more people should probably crossbow hunt.
You think so?
I don't know. I really don't care. I think if you have some sort of injury or bum shoulder or whatever, it's like, go for it, because that might be me here in about a few years, maybe, if my shoulders don't get better. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I think there's good and there's bad. I think a lot of people that use crossbows should probably go ahead and use a vertical bow, but I mean, it is what it is.
It's a pretty mild take.
Come on.
No, you gave the mild take, so I can give a controversial take, and people cannot like me.
Yeah, good cop, bad cop. Let's hear it.
If you're able-bodied and you're using a crossbow, I think that's pretty soft. But at the end of the day, I don't care if you're using a crossbow as long as you're not my neighbor. But if somebody shot my target buck able-bodied with a crossbow, I'd be pretty upset about it. But generally speaking, I don't really care. But what?
Let me go one step further. What about kids? Do you think kids should be using crossbows?
I don't know. I don't have a kid, and I haven't taken a kid hunting in a long time.
You don't have a kid?
I don't have a kid that can hunt.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. I guess I do have a child.
Yeah, I was about to say, whose is it?
No, I mean, I'm not opposed to him using a crossbow. I think when I see like very young kids shooting giant bucks for the crossbow, there is part of me that gets triggered because I'm like, dude, there's an 8-year-old out there that's killed a 190-inch buck, and I never have. Maybe that's just jealousy of an 8-year-old kid, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of crossbows. I don't think anyone that doesn't use one is. Cole Owen said, do you guys think pigs play a big factor in holding deer on a property?
I think they do. Especially if
so?
you have very limited timber. I think for sure. But if you have like an abundance of timber, I think they coincide fairly well. But it's just that if the bedding is a limited resource, I think that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it always feels like the places that I have a lot of pigs, I have a lot of deer too. But only, especially down here in Texas. Like I had that spot where I shot that boar and then that big sow a couple weeks ago. That spot had a lot of good bucks in there. Granted, it's hunted pretty hard around there, but I've never really had. I can tell you the one thing: if you're hunting over feeders, I don't think they mix very well. The hogs definitely scare deer off of feeders pretty bad. So I would say that over food for sure. But in terms of holding deer, I don't really think it matters that much.
Man, you said the F word. Shame. Shame.
Peter. I was like, what are you talking about?
Kick 'em off.
B&B Hunt said, when you hog hunt, does wind matter at all compared to whitetails? I've never done it. Glass definitely changes the anchor point for me too. Oh, glass has definitely changed the anchor point.
Yeah, no, wind for sure plays the biggest part of it because, like I said, you can fool their eyes, you can fool their ears, but I think similar to the whitetail, it's like if they smell you, that's when they start kind of getting on their toes, and then they'll hightail it out of there as fast as a whitetail. At least from what I've seen. I don't know if hogs are different per region. Like that was me in Northeast Oklahoma. So what about you, Christy? Like, do you play the wind at all, or?
Oh, with the pigs for sure. I think that's the only thing that matters. Especially in the spring, like I think one of the best times to kill pigs is when you're shed hunting. Like I always run into them shed hunting. Like before the green up, you can see super far. There's trails everywhere. You're kind of walking like nastier stuff around creeks or lakes and stuff. And I always run into pigs shed hunting. And if you have the wind right, a lot of times I'll be walking just at a normal walking pace and I'll just hear something around and I'll stop and they'll be within like 50 yards, 60 yards already. And if you have the wind, dude, you can walk right up on them a lot of times. So as long as you have the wind, man, it's pretty easy. I mean, turkey hunting that one time, you shot that one with the 12 gauge. We were just like walking along and I'm like, hold on. Yeah. And then a group just walks right up to us. Literally walks right up to us. And that one didn't stop until he was like 7 yards away.
No, dude, I could have doubled up for sure. It's just that dang 12 gauge, man. 12 cheap 12 gauges. They like to get caught up on you.
That 870 did not pump very well. It did not. Candy Cane Can said, got a big bull, Gabe, no deer, good goose season, ducks off this year, pheasant not great. We didn't see much deer. It's been a weird deer season. That's for sure.
Yeah, it has. So apparently Dakota the other day over by his house seen a pheasant.
Oh.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I've never seen one over here. At least
I have not either.
Here. And I asked him, I was like, are you sure it ain't like a quail? Like that's not what you're trying to place it as? And he said, he described it. And I was like, yeah, sounds like a pheasant.
Man.
It's pretty cool.
Gabe Torrey said, ducks have been weird for us this year, not seeing much like we usually do. Hopefully it'll get better soon with some colder weather. Yeah, it's 80 degrees here and it's almost Christmas. So my hope meter's just gone on the cold. It's just gone, man.
Yeah. I mean, if the situations were different, like you had good bedding or good food, you might. It
still wouldn't be fun to hunt though. Like when it's 80,
it's not. Like it's okay, 80 is a little excessive, but even if it did
55,
yeah, if it was 55 60. Or something like that, that'd be pretty sweet. Because it's like, all right, listen, no mosquitoes. I can literally hunt in a hoodie, and I'm getting the benefits of this late season food. It's like, yeah, I'd love to be in the woods.
Similar to every topic we've been talking about recently, I think I should just probably quit complaining about the weather and just go somewhere where it's cold. I think that's what
sounds like you should just move. Yeah,
I really hate the heat. It's really annoying. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the ducks this year. Gabe said crossbow unless you're wearing contacts, huh? Just kidding. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Dude, if I had a crossbow and I used it, I would have a lot more animals down.
Do you think so?
To say the least. I think so. Like, think of our public spot in southern Oklahoma. It's like the AT&T buck. I think that one would. I mean, that one was probably dead anyways if we'd have known what a dog was back then. But
For
like,
sure.
there was that one. You probably would have made a better shot on your 8-point down there.
Probably.
Let's see, that one on that draw where I ended up killing my buck this year, but like a year or two ago, that was at like 55 yards, and I pulled the piss out of it, and the arrow went probably in the next county.
Yep, I remember that one.
Yeah, that one was a gut wrencher. There was one here on the private in 2017, 2018, something like that, and yeah, it was 2017 because I shot that buck the same year, and literally a week later, on the dot, because I shot that one on 22nd or 23rd. And then I'm pretty sure might have been the 29th is when that one came through. Dude, it was the craziest story. I say it's crazy. It wasn't that crazy. I was sitting there on my phone looking, and I see something coming in right here, and I just kind of glance over. This is before I had glasses, right? And I was like, it's just a doe. That's immediately what I thought. It's just probably a doe. And put my head back down on my phone, and all of a sudden, this thing's probably 25 yards away from me at this point. I just happened just to look back up again, thinking it was a doe, and it was a pretty good buck. I don't know if it's on this. I don't know if it's on the HA social or my personal one, but it wasn't just a doe. It was a really good buck. And he just looks right up at me, puts his head back down, walks straight in front of me, and then he's just like at 20 yards for, I don't know how long, but he's, I don't know, 20, 25 yards, quartered hard away. And it's getting dark. And finally, I just try to squeeze one in there. And just because I've never seen this buck before, it was probably just here, just cruising around. And good blood. And then it rained horribly at like midnight. Again, at the time, didn't know what a dog was. Thermal drones really weren't a thing. And I grid searched for 3 days after that and never found him.
How many deer do you think would be on the collective walls of the group, rough, if you would have known what a drone was from 2020 or a dog from 2020 to 2010?
So just quick math. Let's say Carol has a couple. So 2. Let's say you have a couple. Let's say 3. Let's say I have 3. So easily 8. Just not even really thinking about it, probably.
There's been several that I'm like, those are dead. I just can't find them.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of makes me sick now with the dog and everything that you just find them. So
yeah,
it sucks.
Good fatal shots. It's just like you run out of blood, and sometimes you don't even run out of blood. You just get taken through these tall grass patches. Dude, tracking in grass is the hardest, especially stuff that's like nipple high, chin high, and it's just like you're looking through and you're like, oh, well, it kind of veers off this way, but then it veers off 3 different ways, and you're just like, you don't know because the blood's so hard to find in there.
Yeah. Candy Cane said, hot take, it's way easier to bow hunt than use a rifle. All right. I don't know what alternate reality you live in.
I'm going to say false.
Hunter Simmons on Insta said, whose idea was it to start the podcast? That was Jake's idea.
Christoph.
Grady Higginbottom said, good looking stash, Christy. I don't have a stash, but I think it just my stash grows faster than the rest of my face, so it probably looks like I have one.
No, that's just my face.
Samuel Crabtree said, could I get some advice? There is a 140s 9-point that is in the thickest part of our farm, and he's right on the property line. How should I go about hunting him?
No, thanks. Next question. What do you think?
The thickest part of our farm, and he's right on the property line. How should I go about hunting him? So if you're hunting him right now, definitely some sort of food source. I don't know if you said farm, so I'm assuming maybe you're in ag country. If you have beans, cut corn, winter wheat, some sort of late season food source, maybe you have a feeder if you're southern hunting. You could definitely hunt him coming out of that thickest part of your farm, even if it's on the property line. But I also don't know like what direction he's naturally going. But I would say this part of the year where there's no leaves on the trees, it's going to be pretty tough to access. Probably stick to hunting him in the evenings. but that's you got to hunt him going to and fro somewhere, especially this part of the year. So depends where the food is right now, but you definitely got a shot at him still if it's if
Yeah, I
he's
would
still
think
on
you
you.
need to, regardless if you have food, outside of that super thick stuff. I think you still need to be in the thicket because you got to think about the point in the season you're at too, like the pressure. I don't know where you're from, but if you're in Texas, you got a 2 month long gun season. If you're in Oklahoma, we're fresh off of a gun season, so you got to think about that. Like all the bucks that we've had on camera, at least here in Oklahoma, they're pretty nocturnal when it comes to walking around those edges of those fields. So take that into consideration. I would probably be in the timber. That's probably where they feel safest. But again, I don't know how big of a piece that is, and you don't want to go blowing them out right before season closes. So.
Yeah, you said right on the property line. That makes me think that he's going from your timber into the neighbors. Maybe they have food. So if that's the case, he said he's hitting the late acorns and he beds on the neighbors. Okay, cool. Well, if he's bedding on the neighbors, then I'd say get in the acorns that he's headed to and feeding in the afternoon. That's probably I don't know when your season ends or what state you're in, but here before too long, it's kind of time to risk it for the biscuit all the way because he's probably going to make it the rest of the year unless you have a late gun season. So
that's a big old buck.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Say his name.
Pahrump Jen Salisbury. I don't know if that's how you say that. Said my doctor finally convinced me to stop eating anchovies by the can. I switched to whitefish. I have more energy. She also suggested I watch less 90 Day Fiance. Stress. So I'm here. All right. Happy to have you.
Hey, if we're not adding stress on you, that's pretty good. Welcome.
There we go.
Anchovies, dude.
That's disgusting.
Those are kind of gross, aren't they?
Oh, dude, anchovy. I mean, I don't think I've ever ate anchovies. I've just smelled them. So no thanks. B&B Hunt said, do you think crossbows actually change harvest rates or just who's successful?
Harvest. Explain that. They change harvest rates or who's successful. That's the same thing, ain't it?
Or just who's successful. Like, do you think more deer are being killed because of crossbows?
I think there's two ways to think about that. You could either do like the safe and basic answer and just say yes, or you could try to base it off of how, like, the numbers of hunters that are only into archery season or hunting in general just because of crossbows. So if the number is elevated, like the total number of hunters is elevated just due to crossbows, then obviously, yes, it will have an impact on the harvest rates. But if it's just in general, like that between the regular archery season or just with the vertical or trad bow or something like that, then absolutely. What do you think?
I think it's tough to tell if it's changing the harvest rates because in a state like Oklahoma, it's just considered archery tackle. So it's not broke down combined in terms of like trad, compound, crossbow. I'd like to see because if it's like, hey man, 80% of our archery harvest is crossbow. I don't know if you could change anything based on that. If you're harvesting the amount of deer that they want, because the state's probably just focused on the number of deer that are being harvested, the number hitting their doe goals, the right mix of buck to does. I think we should be managing for a well-balanced age class or a quality of the herd, each, if 50% are 1-year-olds, maybe 30% are 2-year-olds, 20% are 3, like that.
But according to the studies or the reports, Oklahoma has more mature bucks killed than 1 or 2-year-olds, which I think is a little wonky because, again, check-in stations aren't what they used to be. Not everybody just takes every single deer into a check-in station. And so now I think what a lot of them, and I might be butchering this, but I'm pretty sure when they do these reports, they go to like taxidermists or things like that, and they actually pull the teeth from there. And it's like you only take your good mature bucks to the taxidermist, though. So that's kind of a little biased in my opinion.
I don't know, because my thing is this, like, I know that you have to kill deer. I know they have certain goals of killing deer, right? That's why they expand the seasons. That's why they give you special doe days. That's why they the seasons are where they are throughout the season, right? people are very successful. The majority of the harvest in Oklahoma is still done with a rifle. But the question is, like, what are the introductions of crossbows and gun seasons in the pre-rut and the exact part of the peak of the rut? What does that do to your age class? And I think it destroys your age class is what it does. It kills pretty much all of your 3 and 4-year-old deer so they don't move on to those age classes. And people can say, oh, well, Oklahoma kills the majority, the most 3.5 and plus year old deer, in the country. I think it's like is one of the best states in the country for shooting that, but it's like a 3-year-old deer is not a mature deer. So that's not a metric that like fires me up. I mean, if you said, hey,
for yourself. No, I'm just
that's kind of when they get to that point where everybody wants to shoot them. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like the idea. Crossbows.
I don't understand why they don't put them in their own season. And even if their season's a little bit more prolonged, because like muzzleloader season and rifle season here in Oklahoma, they're 2 separate dates. They're recorded separately for harvest reports and stuff like that. What's the difference between a muzzleloader and a rifle? Probably the same concept or the same difference between a vertical bow and a crossbow as well. One is, you can shoot significantly further. It's a little bit easier to maneuver, a little bit easier to probably reload and stuff like that. And so it's like to me, I think it just needs its own season in a sense. And I don't even care if the seasons overlap, but I think it needs to differentiate, at least on the harvest reports, the method of taking.
Yeah. I think there are states like Ohio that 70% of their archery harvest is crossbows, but I don't think crossbows are I don't think they're the big problem in Oklahoma. I really don't.
What do you think's the big problem?
It's where it's not even $2. It's where the gun season is. Mm. Like the majority of our harvest is gun harvest, and it's the 2 weeks of gun season. And I think they put them in the gun season is the worst time for a mature buck to be shot all year. It's the easiest time to shoot a mature buck all year. It's mid to late November when it gets colder, and it's the peak of the rut. So, and you're shooting a high power rifle. It's not like we shoot straight wall cartridges. I think the gun season is the biggest detriment. Like I think they should definitely move muzzleloader and rifle season. But before you mess with crossbows, before you mess with baiting, before you mess with anything else, $2, I think you should need to fix that. And then you might be able to have your cake and eat it too.
That'd be nice.
Be nice. I hate to take away a buck, but here we are. Okay.
But I mean, not even that though. You're not taking away a buck, because for all the people, it's like, oh, well, you're taking away meat in my freezer. It's like, when's the last time you filled all of your doe tags?
Yeah, you get 6. You get 4 regular and 2 during the special doe day. Go shoot 6 does. That's a lot more than $2. A lot more meat than $2. So that's not a thing. And they're still not, I don't know if they're meeting their doe harvest quota. So it's not like you're taking away opportunity. I think everyone in the state would be happy, maybe initially pissed off, but I think they would be happy if you said, hey, we're going to have a lot more 4 and 5-year-old deer. I know you're going to be really upset because the rifle season's not going to be as good. But here in a couple years, when you're seeing bigger and bigger deer, you're going to be happy. You're going to be happy. What if half the 3-year-olds got to 4? Everyone would be like, dude, there's big bucks around now. Yeah. This is awesome. Everybody would be jacked up. So I think you have to manage for balanced age class. And I think I think the age class where you're at, it's the worst in the state. It's really bad.
What?
It is.
But absolutely. Dude, there's monsters killed all over the place around here.
100%. I get you. Yep. It's true.
Yeah, I know. Samuel Crabtree says Tennessee, and it ends January 4th. Okay.
Nice. So it's about time to risk it for the biscuit, brother.
Gabe Torrey, where are you guys located? Midwest, first time tuning in, but subscribed for sure. Love the convo. Well, we appreciate that, Gabe.
Where are we located?
So technically, we're both from Veneta, Oklahoma, or Northeast Oklahoma, but Christy moved down to Texas to start his high fence hunting. So he's down there, and I'm still in Oklahoma.
That's a joke, by the way, if that's your first time tuning in. That's a joke.
Zach Prune. Definitely a lot of people that hunt with crossbows during archery season. I know more that do than use a longbow / traditional here in Ohio.
How many people do you know that were strictly rifle hunters that now hunt with a crossbow the entire
That's a good
year
point.
because they can. The majority
That's a
of
good
people.
point.
By the way, a Barnett crossbow at Academy is $349. Grab some $30 broadheads. You're in the woods archery hunting for less than $400. I think that's cool, but we got to ask ourselves, what is that doing? It's bringing way more pressure on deer that would typically only get smacked during muzzleloader and the rifle season. So liberalization of seasons and weapons and technology and everything else wipes out your age class. And if you're cool shooting these every day, that's cool. I just would prefer to keep moving up the totem pole.
Oops. We double click. Go ahead.
Sam Crabtree said, I think they go more to processors. Yeah, he's talking about the
the agent and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see how they. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just too small-minded and only think super locally. But I don't understand how that's a thing. Like, there's more mature deer. I also wonder what they're classifying as mature deer. Is that 3 and up or is that 4 and up?
I don't know. I saw a chart that was saying 3 and up, and I'm like, that's not a mature deer.
Because when I go to check in deer online on the mobile app, it just says fawn or adult. There's no in between. So I don't. If they're aging, it's like cool. I don't know how they're doing that.
I know they used to do a bunch of jaw aging because when I was at NSU for a year, I volunteered to go to a processor opening day, and this is in 2015, and they'd pull jaws for like surveying of age. I'm sure they're probably not doing that anymore because of the.
It might be.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's not really many processors anymore. There's a few down here. Hunter, we got some Instagram ones to catch up on. Hunter Simmons said, I feel like a kid listening to all of Grandpa's stories. That's funny. Whack'em and Stack'em Delaware said, I agree. I wish here in Delaware crossbows weren't allowed in the same length as archery. So many less hunters would go because they don't want to learn the skill of bow hunting. Most of crossbow hunters are capable. It's not due to the handicap. Yeah, they're very capable. Absolutely.
Well, that's just the thing with like I know a lot of people say compound. It's really no different between the compound and like, I guess with how much more the compound is than like the regular trad bows or longbows or anything like that. It's a perishable skill still. Like if you're shooting something with, if you're shooting something with the scope, it's like, okay, as long as that scope's dialed in and I put the crosshairs right where it needs to be. And obviously there's like minute details when it comes to crossbow hunting, because one of my buddies has one that he lets his girls shoot and stuff. And it's like, you got to be a little bit aware of the yardage, but unless you're flinging at like freaking 60 to 80 yards or something like that, it's like, you just basically need to put the crosshairs right where you want to hit and it'll hit there. Versus, you got to get your anchor points, got to get this, and if some little details, if your nose is like this instead of like this, kind of like what I was explaining with the glasses and stuff, you're going to make a bad shot. Like I made a bad shot on a pig that was 12 yards away. So what if that was a big buck 25 yards away? And it's like, I'm in trouble at that point. Like it might be a lethal shot in the guts, lethal, but it's going to play heck finding it. And even when we went to Alberta and stuff, dude, I was scared crapless. I was like, I'm going to, blow my opportunity at it, my first elk. And so I was out there until my shoulder was giving out, just trying to put as many arrows into a target as I possibly could, just to kind of get that repetition. Because I knew as soon as you see a big bull out there, it's like my mind's just going to go black. So repetition's key. And so like it truly is a perishable skill.
So, I saw something from Raven the other day, and it was one of their new marketing videos. And that's like no hate. I think Eric Clark from OKS Hunter helped them on the campaign for it because I saw it on his Facebook. But one of the taglines that they have on the new Ravens are 3 inches, 100 yards, no rivals. And the idea is you can take this thing, sight it in, and at 100 yards, you can hold a 3-inch group. It's about like that at 100 yards. Do you know the amount of archers that shoot a bow fairly consistently that can hold a 3-inch group at 100 yards? Can you hold a 3-inch group at 100 yards?
Buddy.
Okay. Me either. I think most people would struggle to hold a 3-inch group at 40 yards.
Yeah.
And it's not the same thing. And Hunter Simmons said he said crossbow is 0% of Ohio archery harvest because a crossbow is not effing archery.
Got a point.
But it's cool. Like, even though as much as I really dislike it, I still don't think it's the main problem where we're at. I think it's the rifle is where
No.
we're at. It's the rifle and where the season dates are. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even against the length of our rifle season because realistically, how many people is going to be out there all like the full 2 weeks? Very few people. But I agree. It's just like it's purely the placement. So if you were to like map out Oklahoma and there was 3 things you could change, whether that be season dates, methods, maybe baiting or not bait, like what would your 3 things be in order?
I would change the rifle season. I would go to more like Kansas. I would instead of I basically bump it a week back. So instead of starting November 17th or 20th, whatever it is, it would start December 1st and it would go to like December 14th. So you're going to catch the tail end of the rut. So people can say, oh, there's a little rutting activity. Deer are still moving. We're not in the late season yet. We're not having to hunt them over food quite yet. I would definitely change that. That's the first thing. Because I think the majority of your young, good deer, your 2-year-olds, your 3-year-olds, call them your 4-year-olds, whatever, and get killed November 20th through the end of November. I think that's when I see pretty much all of them on Facebook. So this is anecdotal. I would take the muzzleloader season that currently goes from the end of October into the first few days of November. I would take that and I'd put it early season, either in September or early October. I don't even care. Like I would even sacrifice shooting bucks in velvet than I would to have it in the really good parts of the pre-rut right there. Because it would still be harder to shoot them in velvet than I think it would that time of the season. They're just cruising so much. And the third thing that I would change, you could take away cell cams. Probably wouldn't do that. Wouldn't take away baiting. I would probably do, even you could change the $2 down to 1. I would probably, I'd probably put crossbows in their own season. That would probably be the other things. I think you could change those 3 things and not have to touch baiting, which everybody would be pissed about because there's a lot of people have really bad properties that they can kill deer and bait. I've been there, so I understand. You don't have to change the $2. And I think everybody would be happier.
Do you think so? If the whole goal is to put more mature deer on the landscape, you think having a crossbow in its own season is a bigger deficit to that outcome versus $2?
Yeah, because they say that 90% of people don't shoot $2. So you're only talking about 10%. But what is the period of how many people are killing them with a crossbow?
I don't know, because
how much of our archery
they haven't released data for that. Yeah, we don't know.
I bet it's a significant portion. I bet it's more than 10% of the overall people that hunt. I bet it's a lot. So I don't know. Okay, let's read a few of these. So Whack'em Stack'em said, so many less hunters would be in the woods because they don't want to learn the skill of bow hunting. It's not an issue of whether they're capable. Okay. I think we read that one. Crossbow has changed everything here in Delaware. They can hunt from September 1st to February 1st. That's crazy.
Dang.
That is crazy. Rand K. Andrews said no more check stations around in VA. All online. Crossbow hunting sucks for regular archery season. I agree. Whack and Stack'em said, and the speed of crossbows and the distance they can attempt and be comfortable versus the ethical shots taken by most bow hunters. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, Zach.
True.
Zach said, evening fellers, I have a question in regards to where deer/bucks are in their winter range versus the summer here in the South. For example, where I find sheds in the spring, would that be where I could find bucks in the winter/bedding areas?
So where we find bucks during the summer, those same bucks are usually, at least during season, in our opinion, those bucks are on our neighbor's tailgate on Facebook. So
Frick. Yeah, you're not wrong there.
No, but what's your input on that, Christy? Do you think they kind of fall back into their summer range?
Where would I find sheds in the spring? Would that be where I could find bucks in the winter? I think those are pretty similar. Yeah, like just I only shed hunt in bedding areas pretty much. Like we don't have like really good late season food or big winter wheat plots or cut corn around any of the places, public or private, that we hunt. So the places that we're targeting for sheds and like summer ranges is going to be the same. It's going to be like really good bedding areas, like for me. So it
Maybe shed
doesn't.
hunting, but when it comes to like his first comment right here, where the ranges from like winter range to summer,
Yeah,
I think those are different just because you got to think about pressure wise. In the summertime, what do we see on public? Where do we hang cameras? That's the easily accessible travel routes. So that could be old two tracks that the biologist makes, or old abandoned roads. That's where they like to be. They'll be there all hours of the day during summer, no matter how hot it is, and daylight. And the big giants will be too, just because they'd rather walk that than head high grass or up and down, this one ridge or whatever. That's just the easiest way to go. But now in the wintertime, they've had the whole season behind them, probably got schizophrenia at this point. Some people are still going through a rifle season. And so to have all this pressure, I don't think they're really going to be in the same areas, so to speak, as they did when no one's in the woods, no one's scouting yet, and they've had months to kind of recoup and recover. And plus, during the summer, the four are just so much more readily available. It's like they don't really have to move a lot either. So I don't know. All that said and done, I think they differ, but it probably, again, just like with hunting, I feel like it's all dependent.
he said, like when I'm scouting, I have a hard time finding their bedding. Yeah, I sometimes bedding's not nearly as defined, or like it's not like segmented into this area. Um, and there's a lot of stuff that like looks way too open to be really, really good bedding, but they'll bed in it anyways. Like I can think of a spot over kind of by my house, but by the lake, where it's not head high grass. It's probably mid thigh and below, but the deer bed in it like an MF. Everything in their world is basically 3.5 feet below. So it doesn't have to be the thickest, nastiest briars. Like sometimes they'll bed in the open. Like, so I understand what you're saying, because I think I have a good idea, Zach, of the kind of stuff that you're talking about, like the type of place you're hunting on the public and stuff. So yeah, it can be pretty difficult, especially when people are walking through it all. So they just bed different spots all the time. That's a problem. Michigan Harvester said, "What up, y'all? How has it been going using that bow mounted decoy?" So I've used it a couple times or a few times. Shot underneath the doe with it, and she let me draw back at like on the ground at 20 yards. That was awesome. Apart from that, used it a bunch during the rut. Never rattled anything in. Never really had a good opportunity to shoot something off of it. So it's going. It's not for lack of trying, but I just never had. I'm working for 225 on the spots that I'm hunting, so it's been tough. Here's a good one for you. Are you guys for or against $1 in Oklahoma?
That's tough. I like $2, but I think if you're going after maturity and you're wanting to raise the bar, I think a $1 is kind of a necessity, especially with how, I guess, you got to think. I feel like it's getting harder and harder to find mature deer, and the people we talk to have on our podcast and stuff. It's a pretty common theme that those big, 160s, 170s, and up, and sometimes even 150s. It's like, dude, they're getting harder and harder to come by. I forget the guy's name, the thermal drone guy that was on our podcast, and he made his whole podcast tour.
Oh, deer research, whitetail deer.
Yes.
Research.
Well,
Whitetail research.
He talks about it. I think you sent me a podcast today of he flew over.
It wasn't him. That was a different guy.
Oh, was it?
It was a thermal guy though. Jack Hudson, I think is this guy.
Yeah, but same thing. It's like very good cream of the crop, something you'd walk into as a hunter and be like, oh, this is going to be dynamite. If you fly a drone over there, it's like, how many big racked bucks are there? And it's like pretty few, if any. So I think with all that said and done, it's like I think we would benefit more from a $1, but selfishly, I do like $2, even though I hardly ever feel that second buck tag. So
I like $1 for the simple idea that people shoot one to gamble and they shoot one for a trophy. Like they shoot one just hoping it's bigger than it is, and then they shoot one or they hold out for one that's really exciting. So I don't like that aspect of it. I think it makes people inherently less picky on what they're going to shoot. I think there's 3, 4, 5 things you could change before going to a $1. But if you changed all those things and you still weren't getting the level of maturity out of the herd or like a balanced age structure, I think you could ultimately go to a $1. But if it is true that 90% of people are not shooting $2, then it kind of seems like against the point. I think we just need to protect the bucks that we already have and get them to older age classes by making it harder to shoot them with a gun. I think that would be a bigger thing than a $1. And I think everybody would be happy. It's like, hey, you can still shoot both your bucks with a gun. Let's just make it harder to shoot them with the gun. You can still get $2.
Here's the thing. I think for the most part, people are going to have a hard time. I think the average person is going to have a hard time with something called delayed gratification, right? Social media, everything around here, everybody wants that immediate success, the immediate dopamine. And whenever you say, hey, I'm going to take away sticky line there too, and it's completely off topic. If you go to take away, if we put legal limitations on something, it's like, how much further will they go? Some people view it as like a way for, the government to really collapse our rights. And it's like, I don't want to think that deep for the sake of this conversation, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I feel like just in general, people are going to have a problem with that delayed gratification. So I think you almost have to do it in spite of what a lot of people like for their own good, if that makes sense. Super hairy, a lot of different ways that people could get wigged out by that, but I think it would be for the best.
I think the question is too, do we want more mature bucks? And if the answer to that, no, I'm being serious. Like, do we want them at the cost of opportunity? Like, are people willing to do that? Because it's going to cost you opportunity to get them to mature.
Yeah, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
You can't have both. You can't shoot them and then be alive for next year to
you
get
just
bigger.
need a couple thousand acres.
Yeah.
Nobody has.
But I think the question is, like, is it good to have a balanced age structure? Yeah. Well, do we need to protect bucks to get them to maturity? Probably. I think it would be a thing where you'd have very bad initial response to it. And then 3 to 5 years down the road, everyone would be like, oh my God, I'm seeing such bigger deer. Like the deer are bigger. Yes, they are, because they're getting older.
Starving Pixels. Good to see 2 LGBT streamers.
I don't know who
that is.
Large giant buck twiddlers. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's real funny. You had that. It probably took you 0.2 seconds to find those flags. So what's that say about you?
Did you have those on your favorites?
Yeah. He already had those on his recents. So we'll just leave it at that.
I got a couple over here on Instagram. We should go through. There's some stacking up. So Country Christian said, bring $2 to Ohio, please. Hunter Simmons said, I would be so pissed if Ohio went to a $2 state. Everyone, including myself, already shoots 2.5-year-old bucks. Imagine if you had $2 and could shoot a real small deer and still have your tag. And he said, mostly because we have one of the highest numbers of out-of-state hunters. Change the pricing for out-of-state. Keep more deer for Ohio hunters. We're the top 5 deer state and the cheapest out-of-state tags. And he replied, exactly. So let's change that first so more Ohio deer can be taken by Ohio hunters.
It's not a bad ordeal to protect the residents.
No. Hunter said, maybe I think everyone should be able to enjoy it, but not Indiana and Kentucky coming here when they are so cheap, and both those states are outrageous. And he said, I like the idea of only having one of the $2 could be taken with a firearm. That's something you could do in Oklahoma as well. Is say you can shoot $2, but only one of them's with a gun, whether it's a muzzleloader or a rifle. You don't get to go shoot one in October with a gun and then in November shoot one with a gun too. It's too much.
It's not. It's black powder.
It's whack. Is what it is. This is my opinion, by the way. You don't have to agree. This is my opinion.
And if you don't agree, let us know in the comments how much of an idiot Christian is. So moving on. You got any more on Insta?
No, go
ahead. Zach says, a guy told me the other day to rattle for buck still. Surely not, right? I don't know about rattling. Probably keep a grunt tube in your back pocket, but I don't know, man. I just feel like could be different down there. I would assume not. That's probably a more your take, Christy. You're in Texas.
I don't think so. I think Zach's in North Texas too, so he's going to be even closer to you. Dude, at this point, especially hunting bucks on public land, imagine how many times they've been bumped out of a bed, they've been grunted at, they've been rattled at, they've been shot at, they've been pushed
You're like,
around
I
by
don't
people
give a
duck
damn.
hunting, hog hunting. Dude, I don't think so, but never say never. Somebody probably rattled one up and stuck him because he was in the right mood, but I wouldn't. That's just me.
Swade Paxton, here in Southeast Oklahoma, I see no shortage of big mature deer. I think it should be certain zones. So I assume certain zones for 1-2 buck limit. We've talked about that, kind of like Oklahoma does with turkey, like they have 1-2 bird counties. Wouldn't be bad for Oklahoma. I think in like if you're a biologist for your area, or that doesn't make sense.
Oh, I've got an idea about the zone thing.
Go ahead.
So you make it by county. You say you can only shoot 1 buck in each county, right? So it would force people to go to different places to hunt and not overhunt their places. But here's another thing. You say, well, what about people that have 1,000 acres and they don't have enough people to come and shoot all their mature bucks that they need to shoot or their culls or whatever? Well, you can manage it like a DMAP program. So it's like a deer managed something. It's in Texas. Basically,
AP,
they do it. Look, They looked about it. They look at it. What'd you say?
You said deer managed, and I said, yeah, AP.
100%.
DMAP. Yeah.
Old DMAP. You manage it on an individual property basis, and you could have like a private lands biologist from the state come out and say, hey, everyone here can shoot 1 buck, obviously, but we're going to give you an additional 3 buck tags so you can help manage the bucks on this particular piece of property. And so you could do it like that, but that's not most people's situation. Most people are in very segmented pieces of land, hunting very pressured deer, and you shouldn't be shooting 3, 4, 5, 6 bucks off of 40 acres. It's not good for the resource at any age class, whether they're 1.5 or 5.5, right? I mean, there's spots that we shoot multiple bucks off of over 100 acres. And there's times where I'm like, I don't think that's right. Like, you know what I mean? So this isn't just something I'm like looking at other people and saying, you should. I'm like, this is something I tell myself. I'm like, should I be shooting? Should 2 people be taking a buck off this place? Like, I think about that every year. And it's just something to consider. You have to do what's best for the resource, not what's best for us. Those two things are very rarely the same thing.
Michigan Harvester, what's y'all's favorite snack / drink for all day sits during the rut? Well, I'm up like 15 pounds since the start of the season. So I'm going to say a Bang energy drink and favorite snack. A Bang energy drink and then gas station Crispitos. That combination slaps harder than Get Out.
Do you have a washing machine for a stomach, dude? That's
Crispitos, brutal. I can tear them up. What's yours?
Favorite snack?
Probably salad. Light on the dressing.
This last year, I got really back into like the simple stuff. So like peanut butter and like cheese crackers, mainly because they come like a 6-stack. I can like ration them and be like, all right, 2 right now and 2 later. And so I can be like, so I like those. And then a drink, man, I don't know. If I have water, I'm pretty jacked up, but I would say like in the morning, I would really like coffee if it's cold. And especially if I already took the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Sure. Dude, that's the difference between like an energy drink and coffee. Night and day difference. One's like a laxative and the other one's like, okay, I can make it to 11.
The coffee fires me up, dude. There's nothing better than drinking a freaking hot thermos of coffee when it's cold.
Yeah, if you got creamer, sure.
Sure.
Samuel Crabtree, I wish Tennessee would at least put a size minimum on them because my neighbor shoots like 100-inch deer, then wonders why there aren't any big deer around. Do we have the same neighbor?
Are you our neighbor? I'm just kidding. Is your neighbor our neighbor? No, but that's the thing. Dude, there's 100 different ways you can go about it. You can go antler restrictions. You can go county. Dude, you can regulate it to the end of time. It's just, what is the simplest way to regulate it to make sure that mid and young tier bucks get to older age classes? And I think it's the easiest to regulate on the weapon side than it is size minimums, antler minimum. You got to have a main beam this long. You got to be this wide. Like, how about we just say, hey, everybody do what you want to do. We're just changing the seasons. They're at this time now. And I think that would have a meaningful impact. I really do. That's not anti-rifle hunting either. I don't care if you hunt for 14 days. Like, just don't do it in the heart of the rut.
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't disagree, but it's just funny how much this comes up when it comes to like we have the same conversation year after year after year. And it's like we're going to continue to have these same conversations year after year after year, unless A, you allow the state to do something or make the state do something, or you do something that you can predict your own outcome or you can have your own outcome. I don't want to say like force your own outcome, but like it's either you do one thing to get you permission or own this amount of land, or you just sit and wait and gripe and do the same thing until they change it for everybody. And it's like, I think it'd be easier, as crazy as it sounds, I think it would be easier for an 18-year-old to start a business, become extremely successful, and buy their own property and sell that property, buy another one, sell it, buy another one, and then until you just have your own little kingdom there instead of waiting on the state to do something.
Don't wait on the state.
I don't know. It seems like that, but
yeah, somebody has to talk about it or they it'll never change. Maybe it'll change some people's minds.
Whoops.
Oh, here we go. Double click. Zach said, I wish Oklahoma would have taken it a little easier on the out-of-staters. They went from 0 to 100 in 2 years. Yeah, I think they definitely did. I think that's because they were so bad on or so easy on it for so long. I agree. They went a little hard, but yeah, I respect them doing something.
They just caught up with inflation. That's all they did. And I say that as a resident because
it's like a landlord raising the rent.
You got to think about this. For $250, you got 6 deer tags. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. So again, I don't know what it is now. Probably like what, $600, something like that.
I think it's close to 700. Yeah.
Okay. $700. True. That's steep. I feel for you. I feel for you, but you gotta think where Kansas is at. You get 2 deer tags for $550.
Yeah. They're making out like a bandit.
Yeah.
And I don't even kill anything. So it's free tag, free money for the state.
Expensive tag suit.
Mike Williams said, do you have antler restrictions? We do in Texas, 13 inches wide. We do not. There's not antler restrictions in Oklahoma currently.
If they're above 3 years old, then we just try to pass them. Like we only go for the ones like 1 or 2 year old.
Yeah. Country Christian said, what about the idea bordering counties can be hunted regardless of state line for those that live on the edges? I don't know about regardless of state line because that's involving multiple DNRs or whatever. So I'm not sure on that. Denton Curry said his favorite tree stand snack is apple juice and pickled quail eggs for all day sets. Pickled quail eggs. Nice, man. That's an endangered species. Country Christian said, speaking of coffee, folks should check out Killshot Coffee Co. right now to help support Dylan for his youth hunt. Use code BACH10 to donate to the hunt. Yeah, check that out. Killshot Coffee Co. Use the code to donate to his hunt. Hunter Simmons said, Jake, why did the gays choose you to be their lord? That's a pretty good one.
I'm back in middle school. Dude, I've heard them all. That ain't new to me. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's just blessed.
We're just happy.
Yep. W. McDaniels. I think this is Will McDaniel. He said $288 for 2 in Missouri. Yeah, that's a steal. That's a steal. Them in
Missouri
Ohio
is pretty cheap too.
Missouri is cheap, and Ohio, I think they went up, and they're still super cheap. Like Ohio, I think is still like $300. It used to be like $170 or $180 for an out-of-stater. That's nothing for a big old buck. That's why I come hunt hunter spots, man. Shoot his big bucks. Okay. Samuel Crabtree said, I would say make a longer bow season, but he tags out usually the first 2 weeks. Oh, that's his neighbor. He's talking about his neighbor. Yeah.
Well,
slinging. Justin Ham said, I feel as long as you can check a deer in on an app or on your phone, big deer will dwindle away, even if there is a deer antler restriction. The check-in apps from the state made a bigger impact than I think most people realize. I agree with that, but you're still managing for people that cheat. And I think people that cheat, whether it's digital, I think previously speaking, they probably just never took their deer to a check-in station to start with when they poached it. So I I see what you're saying. It definitely like blurs the line and makes it a lot easier. But I think that people that do the wrong thing are still going to do the wrong thing, regardless. Don't you?
100%. Yeah, I think poacher's gonna poach just like a cheater's gonna cheat. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think the people that do it the right way are going to check their deer in and be legit about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just man, it's just hard. Like anything to do. If you give any, not everybody has the same morals, right? Someone who's going to check a deer and regardless, like there's people in Texas that if their buck don't meet the age restriction or the antler restrictions, they're going to self-report themselves. Now, granted, most of the time when they self-report themselves, I don't know. I've seen a lot of Facebook videos about it just being a slap on the wrist is basically like a thank you for reporting yourself. But then, not every people just got to understand not everybody's like you. Okay, there's going to be people that just think it's just fun to shoot stuff. I mean, that's what they thought about the buffalo whenever they were in Oklahoma in abundance. It's like, no, they're just fun to shoot. That's the way people view deer too. Not everybody's life revolves around it like it does us. So it sucks, but I don't think it'll change.
Hunter said, Ohio does not have good deer. Don't come here. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I'll just write that down.
Yeah. If you take me on a good hunt, Hunter, I won't tell anybody else about it. Here's a good one.
Zach,
go ahead.
Zach says, how do y'all determine in an area what the kill tree is? Walk us through how y'all determined that on public.
That's old kill tree.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So a good kill tree is usually the ones that are about 50 yards away from me when I thought I should sit in that one. I tend to overcomplicate that quite a bit. Like I will be in a spot and I will sit there and look at a tree for a good 30, 45 minutes before I like start setting up stuff because I'm just like thinking. And anymore, I'm going less and less into like the best of both worlds because if there's a trail here or, I could see them walking out of here, I tend to just pick the one that my gut says and sit closer to that one. At least I've been trying to do that because in the past, it's kind of screwed me where I would try to set the best of both worlds where maybe this is like a 35-yard shot. And then this trail over here that I also want to cover, that would put me, if I set here, maybe 50, 55 yards. And I have still good shots, but what I'm doing there is stretching it out. So I think if you just pick one, because most of the time, if you pick one, it's probably going to be the right one, unless until it isn't. But how to find it, if you're wanting the answer based on like sign or whatever, it's just depending on what time of year it is. I guess you could all base it down into travel corridors. I don't know if you're any different, but like, or obviously early season bed to food, you try to sit in between that. The rut, it's like okay. Where's the doe bedding or where's most of the does hanging out at? And then where's the bedding? And you're trying to kind of sit and just basically trail the does. And then late season right now, it depends on where you hunt and what you're hunting. Like here.
He's hunting North Texas.
Yes. Okay. So you tell me, what do you think?
Frick, you were on a roll, dude.
Oh, I'm just
fixing to drop the knowledge on us.
No, trust me, I ain't got no knowledge to drop. But this is like the third time I brought it up today. It's like during the late season when they're not really too worried about does, you might have one of the younger does come into heat super, super late, but that's probably far and few between. So now they're all kind of basically congregated into one area, probably due to a certain food source or maybe, pressures throughout the seasons drove into this one area. And it's just like, I think if you find an abundant sign and then also a good food source, and that food source might be changing depending on if it's natural browse or maybe it's ag or whatever, I think that's how you determine your kill tree is just those two things, sign and then where the food is right then.
Yeah. How do y'all determine in an area what the kill tree is? I'm not a super like sit back, contemplate, think about it for 2 hours type of person. I think that if you count the number of trees that a deer walks by in a single day, it's hundreds of different trees. So you could kill that deer in a lot of different places. But the kill tree for me is like just the tree that gives me the best shot advantage from where I absolutely think they're going to be. Maybe something that's got good back cover or front cover, not in pines because like everything's bad in a pine. I mean a pine should not be a kill tree, but it has to be at some point. So, man, I would just say something off a travel corridor or off of a trail that is it within bow range or something that you can if you're saddle hunting something that is in between you and the deer that you can kind of lean out to the side or around on. But I don't overcomplicate the kill tree stuff because I really do think there's a lot of different trees that you can kill a deer in.
Do you also think you need to be elevated?
No, not necessarily.
I mean, I'm just adding to your broad answer, but whatever.
Well, you asked, so he asked. Sorry. That's yeah. Sorry, Zach. I'll help you. So looking for anything that helps prior to January 4th. Let's go hunting together, and that way, when someone walks underneath us on public, we'll have someone to get mad and talk about it together. So Zach's been hunting a bunch on public, and I think he's chasing a couple good bucks, but he's been running into people like every time. Okay, Hunter said, would you rather never shoot a deer again or never do your husbandly duties again?
Is he talking about coitus?
I think so. Biologically, I don't know if you could never do the second one again. You got Jake stumped, dude. He's really thinking about it.
I am. Dude, I take these questions to heart.
That's a really easy one.
I think deer can piss off.
Yeah, there's no way. You didn't say any other you didn't say any other species. I would turn into an elk hunter, antelope hunter. There's no way. Husbandly duties again. I think your wife would find another husband at that point, maybe. So
yeah, you probably wouldn't be man enough to hunt.
I'd be an antelope hunter, elk hunter. Yeah, definitely on that one. That one's actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Country Christian said tree with good cover, tree that gives you good shooting lanes, and a tree that you can get in easily and safely. I think that's a good one. And Hunter said no pants dancing needed. And Country Christian said deer are safe, bro. Yes, absolutely. Samuel Crabtree said, do y'all think it's about time to break out the guerrilla tactics? What does that mean?
What is guerrilla tactics?
Yeah. By that, do you mean a thermal scope? Is that what you're getting at?
I'm about to break one out for hogs.
Do you have a thermal?
No. But it's kind of like a boat. You don't need a boat if you have a buddy with a boat. So
100%. Hunter said, what about hunting in general? Did you give up hunting in general?
I think I'd really enjoy fishing. There's a lot of different fish to chase.
True.
For sure. Like, yeah. Because dude, I could spend a lot of days trout fishing, and there's a lot of different kinds of trout.
Yeah. He said I try to keep it legal. The guerrilla tactics.
Yeah. Do you all think it's about time to break out the guerrilla tactics? I try to keep it legal.
I think it is, dude. You only got a few more days of season, so it's time to break out the tactics.
I mean, I think he's talking about poaching, but all right, yeah. Christian.
He said tries to keep it legal. All right, hold on. I gotta. This is the guest of the podcast.
What's up? Oh, I guess he can't hear.
Yeah, he can't. This is Claudine. He's looking at the deer in here. He just got back. He was asleep about 30 seconds ago, so he's probably super upset about it. You want to say something? The live people? No. Okay. All righty. See you later, Bubby. Good night. Yes, it's time to go for broke, if that's what you mean, Samuel. Gorilla Tactics, going back to husbandly duties. He said, "How old? Adorable. 10 months old." Future 200-inch deer slayer, dude. If he does that, he's gonna find a new home. He can't do that before me. That's
Hey,
ridiculous.
it's just like his dad, 200 inches a year. That's 200 inches.
You didn't say how many, bub. Yeah,
You break that
20 bucks
over
there.
3 years, then
I've already
call
killed
me a
200
200
inches.
incher.
$5 equal 200. Well, what do you think? Good place to wrap?
I think so. It sounds like you need to go do your
Husbandly duties,
husbandly
as in putting a
duties.
child to sleep. For sure.
Yes.
For sure. Well, thanks everybody for tuning into the live. We're trying to do these every Monday, especially now that we're out of the kind of the hunt talk realm where we used to release those every Friday. So we won't have one next week. Our next one will probably be on January 5th. So we're going to do these every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll do them on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So appreciate you guys tuning in.
I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. Keep in mind the reason for the season. Jesus Christ is King.
He's Lord.
He is Lord. And just hope everybody has a good time with their family. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll have a guest episode coming out next Monday on the 29th. And then see you guys next year.
Jesus loves you.
Bye.